All right, Shalom Akim, Shalom, Shalom. All right, this is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Come with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord, willing this be edifying to the Lord's elect. And before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Wachaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. You Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations, but your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all. Barakathon. So in this lesson, I'm going to be addressing a couple of subjects. So first we're going to start off with obedience, and then we're going to go into the law. All right. So I was on TikTok yesterday, and and I noticed the brother Hakama, all right, he did a response to a source video that we're going to get into, all right, and subsequently he responded to this comment, all right, right here. All right, I want to say shalom, brother. You know what I'm saying? Shalom, Ak. You did a great job in defending the gospel. Okay, and I wanted to also do a response on this video as well. Okay, and to this dude, all right, this dude Amawan who left that comment, you know what I'm saying? I would say that I'm disappointed in you, but you know I'm not disappointed. You know what I'm saying? I peeped your spirit a while ago, which is why, you know, I no longer dealt with you, man. You know what I'm saying? You're tossed to and fro with different doctrines. You see what I'm saying? So I was at work at the time when I saw this, you know what I'm saying, when I saw the video, and, you know, the spirit pretty much jumped on me. So given that I was at work, I had to wait till I got home, and, you know, my spirit wasn't as fiery as it was that morning, you know what I'm saying? So I gave myself some time to cool down pretty much, and, you know, just to reflect a bit. You know what I'm saying? Especially given the warm weather that we've been having as of late. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, all right, I'm gonna set the record straight with this. All right. From the leadership on down, from the apostles, the bishops, the elders, you know what I'm saying, through the Hakodash, the Holy Spirit, you know what I'm saying? Order must be established. All right. Order has to be established. You women who claim to be in the truth, all right, following the correct doctrine, shut your mouth. All right? Shut your mouth. Know what your role is and stay there. You see what I'm saying? Those of you women who are in the correct spirit, you already know what it is, man. You already know what it is. Shalom, beloved. You know what I'm saying? Barakatha. You keep doing what you're doing, sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing, man. This lesson ain't aimed towards you. You know that. All right? But we're going to start this off in the book of First Timothy. All right? First Timothy chapter 2, verse 11. It reads, "Let the women learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence." You see what I'm saying? So let's go to the video that's in question, right? Bear with me. All right, so this is the video right here. You know what I'm saying? And to whoever, you know what I'm saying, to whoever this woman is, all right, it says her channel is Melanin Wisdom. All right, melanin wisdom, which that which that name alone should tell you what it is. You know what I'm saying? These people who's all up and down with that melanin still. You know what I'm saying? That melanin. You know what I'm saying? That should tell you everything you need to know, man. It's a whole bug out that we dealing with here. You know what I'm saying? All right. But wherever she learned from, or whoever is currently teaching her, they clearly have no orderly foundation. You see what I'm saying? Like most of these camps out there. All right. They give you women the liberty to do as you please. You know what I'm saying? To be able to speak out of turn, to showcase your disregard for leadership. You know what I'm saying? And just to keep it 100 with you, man, real talk. You know what I'm saying? Most of you so-called sisters are a bunch of feminists with head wraps on and dresses with fringes, with a nose ring. You know what I'm saying? Shit. A telltale sign of this is to have, is to see how eager these women are in trying to police where a man sticks his rod in. You know what I'm saying? That's a telltale sign that this chick ain't about the truth, man. She's not about the truth. All right, she's still in the world. She's still in the mindset of the West, man. All right, under Esau's system. You see what I'm saying? You got to keep in mind, man, the elect are a very small number. A very small number. Right? And the Lord's watching every last one of you women step out of line, man. So as a warning to you chicks, this is the warning, man. Where the words of the prophets and the teachers won't reach you, the prophecy of judgment will. You see what I'm saying? See, a lot of these chicks walking around here thinking that that they can just get on a video somewhere and start talking this shit, man. All right? That's out of order. See what I'm saying? Let's go to Revelation. All right, this is Revelation chapter 2 and verse 20. It reads, "Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed to idols," man. You know what I'm saying? Most of you women don't even know what a prophetess actually is. You know what I'm saying? A prophetess is primarily a woman who's either the wife of a prophet or a close relative to a prophet. You see what I'm saying? So either she's married to a prophet, or she's either the sister of a prophet or a daughter of a prophet. You see what I'm saying? Such was the case with Miriam. You know what I'm saying? Miriam, she was a prophetess. All right. And a prophetess was in most cases, all right, endowed with the gift of song, which is what Miriam's gift was. You see what I'm saying? Another gift was the gift of dreams. All right. And also the gift of wise counsel. You know what I'm saying? Which was the case with Deborah. You know what I'm saying? Deborah was a prophetess. All right. Because she was gifted with wise counsel. However, at best, a prophetess's role was never at the forefront. You see what I'm saying? A prophetess's role was never at the forefront. But at most, she was an advisor. That's it. Nothing more, nothing else. You see what I'm saying? That's it, man. She was an advisor. Why? Let's go to 1 Corinthians. Let's go to 1 Corinthians, chapter 14. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and let's hit verse 40. All right. It reads, "Let all things be done decently and in order." All right. all things being done decently and in order. Let's go to Numbers. You know what I'm saying? At the end of this thing, man, all right, you women are going to learn order, man. For the majority of you, you're going to learn it the hard way. See what I'm saying? Let's go to Numbers chapter 27. And verse 16. It reads, "Let the Lord Yahweh, the power of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation." You see what I'm saying? So this is coming from the authority of the Heavenly Father, man. Let the Lord Yahweh, the power of spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation. You see what I'm saying? A man. All right? So understand what you're doing, man. See what I'm saying? Just as just as you read in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, you know what I'm saying? You go further up. What was it? Verse 35. Let me see. Let me double check. All right, 1 Corinthians 14, in verse 35. It reads, and if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church. It is a shame for women to speak in the church, man. You see what I'm saying? If a woman is going to learn anything, man, let her ask her husband for guidance. Let her ask for, her husband for understanding. You see what I'm saying? And given the fact that this is a so-called black woman, you know what I'm saying? Given the fact that this so-called black woman, you know what I'm saying, the odds of her having a husband is less than 25%. You see what I'm saying? So it's low odds that she's got a husband. You know what I'm saying? So we know that this is a woman that's left to her to her own devices. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether or not those devices vibrate is beyond me. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so now that we've established order, all right, that's the first part. Now let's get into the lesson, okay? Let's get into the real issue here, man. All right, this is the issue that burns all your lice-infected wigs. You know what I'm saying? Of the daughters of Sarah. All right, this is that issue: marrying heathen women. All right, marrying heathen women. Let's jump into it, man. All right. So let's listen to the video and let's break it down a bit. All right.
I'm gonna read the scripture because it's plain upon tables. There's no need to explain anything. You can take it for face value, okay? This is Deuteronomy chapter 7. I'm going to start at verse 2 through 6. This is in the law. This is what the Most High commanded the Israelites in regards to heathens, in regards to Gentiles, okay? It says, "And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenants with them." Ain't marriage a covenant? So tell me, where in the law that the Most High said it's okay to intermingle with these heathens, with Gentiles, to marry, to mix with nations? Marriage is a covenant. Even all the way down to intimacy, it's a covenant. And the Most High said, make no covenants with them, okay? Let's keep going. "Nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord kindle against you and destroy you suddenly." That's plain. The Most High said don't do it, because these heathens will turn your heart against the Most High and against your people. Think about any Israelites mixing with other nations, in a relationship, in a marriage with other nations, right? They always hate and show disdain for the Israelite woman. That heathen woman will always show disdain for the Israelite woman. That's what you see today. The so-called white woman show disdain for the so-called black woman. When she's with a so-called black man, an Israelite man, right? It's disdain. And then you have to understand these heathens were raised and taught customs and traditions according to their mother, right? Their mothers worship into idolatry. Their fathers worship into idolatry and idols. That's going to be instilled in them. They're not going to let that go. And their goal is to convert you to follow after them. And then you wonder why so many of our people hate their own people. Is it making sense? Let's keep going. Verse 4. They will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. This is both ways. This is Israelite man mixing with heathenish women, and Israelite woman mixing with heathenish man. Same thing. Same thing. Verse 5. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord thy God has chosen thee.
All right. That's pretty much it. There you go. Leave it right there. So pretty much, you know what I'm saying, the majority of those who have an issue with with this concept of quote unquote mingling with the heathen, all right, they have no understanding at all of the customs of our forefathers and the customs of the East as a whole. You see what I'm saying? And they misunderstand the role, all right? They misunderstand the role and the importance of marriage, okay? And what they do is they tend to merge what they read in the scriptures with the mindset that they've been brought up with and taught here in the West. You see what I'm saying? Specifically here in the United States, all right? So let's get the understanding of this, man, all right? Yes, sex in its purest act is a marriage, okay? Sex in its purest act is a marriage. But there are rules regarding this, okay? There are rules regarding this. The word marry means to join. You see what I'm saying? And that was consummated through breaking a woman's hymen. You see what I'm saying? That was consummated through breaking that woman's hymen. When you crack through, you know what I'm saying, and she start bleeding, all right, that means that the marriage has been consummated and you have been joined. Let's go to let's look up the word for consummate. All right. All right, so the word for consummate. Let's see.
Consummate.
All right, so consummate. To bring to completion or fruition. To conclude. To realize or achieve. To fulfill. Third definition. To complete a marriage with the first act of sexual intercourse. With the first act of sexual intercourse after the ceremony. All right. Key word, ceremony. Okay, there was a ceremony that was involved with these marriages. Okay, and we're going to expound on that. All right, but what brought about this joining or this marriage, all right, this union, if you will, was the act of sex. And that situation of sex was your first time having intercourse. All right. So as I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of women are not going to like to hear this, but the man that you first had sex with, that's essentially your husband. You see what I'm saying? I want you ladies to swallow on that one. So, you know what I'm saying? But you have to remember, okay, like I said, in the first act of sex, when you break the hymen, she bleeds, right? But remember that an oath or a covenant was normally sealed through the shedding of blood. Okay? So that's what consummated the covenant. All right? That's what consummated this agreement, this arrangement. And that's why the laws, when you get into the marital laws, they are very strict regarding how it has to be played out, how it has to be joined, how it has to be merged. You see what I'm saying? And that's why a woman is meant to have only one man throughout her whole life. You see what I'm saying? Because that bloodshed brought this union to its perfection. Let me go back to let's go to the definition again. Okay. Consummate. To consummate is to bring to completion or fruition, to conclude. You see what I'm saying? So the marriage was brought to its perfection. And this is nothing like, this is nothing like what you've been taught in the West. You see what I'm saying? You wasn't taught this, man. All right? It's not like what you've been taught growing up here. You see what I'm saying? What do they normally teach you, women? They teach you the complete opposite. Under Esau's rulership, they teach you to go and play the field. They teach you to go and find out what you like and this and that, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Like the scriptures say that a father, all right, because according to our customs, the father, all right, the father picked out the husband for the wife, for the daughter. You see what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, let me see if I can get this video real quick. Bear with me. All right, so I remember I uploaded this a long time ago, but yeah, check this out.
What kind of car do you think most people would buy?
What kind of car?
You had all the money in the world.
All the money. I don't know. What do they want, like a G-Wagon or something?
Exactly.
Okay.
The G-Wag, Ferrari, Lamborghini, you know what I'm saying, Bugatti or whatever. Now, if you tell them that this is the only car you can have for the rest of your life, if you want kids, a Lamborghini doesn't make sense anymore because you can't put a car seat in a Lamborghini. If you plan on getting old, a Lamborghini doesn't make sense because your knees gonna go bad, your back is gonna go bad. How you gonna hop in and out of that low car, right? So then you have to be a bit more practical about, okay, what kind of car is gonna work for me at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60? He said that most of us give more thought to the car that we're gonna buy than the person we choose to spend the rest of our life with. And that's why so many marriages are failing.
Wow.
Hey, you see that? You see that? Let's go back. Okay. So as you just heard in the video clip, you know what I'm saying, the guy was explaining, all right, how people put so much thought into picking out a car that they're gonna be with for the rest of their life, all right, as opposed to picking out, you know what I'm saying, who they're going to be with, all right, for the rest of their life. You see what I'm saying? They put more thought into cars than they do in actual people. Okay? And the point is, that's why the men have always chosen for their daughters. You see what I'm saying? The men chose who the husband was for their daughters. You see what I'm saying? So let me get this in the book of Ecclesiasticus, all right, or the book of Sirach, chapter 7 and verse 25. It reads, "Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding." You see what I'm saying? The men did that, all right? The men would make sure that these marriages would be done, all right, in a proper manner. You see what I'm saying? Because this is who I'm going to be giving my daughter to be with for the rest of her life. So I got to make sure that this guy is on his proper square. You know what I'm saying? So now with that point explained, this woman, she asked, where in the law is it okay to marry the heathen women? All right. Where in the law is it okay to marry the heathen women? Again, the meaning of the word marry is to join, right? The rules regarding a heathen woman are vastly different than those rules regarding an Israelite woman. Okay? To understand this is to know what was the purpose of marriage to begin with. All right? That's the part that most people don't understand. And that purpose was for the joining of households. Okay? Typically, a father would marry his daughter to a well-off family. Okay? To a family with means, a family with structure, a family that has a legacy. You see what I'm saying? All right? As we just showed with the little clip. All right? The same way you put your thought into what car you're going to live with for the rest of your life. All right? Fathers put that much thought into who they were going to pair up their daughter with for the rest of her life. Okay? And this was, joining from house to house and making sure that it's a family of good means. Okay? This was to further build a family's influence and to strengthen the tribe. All right? Which in Israel's case, there are 12 tribes. You see? So when one marries, then the legacy of that merged family's inheritance is passed down to the sons. All right? As the males are the ones who carry the lineage of their fathers. Okay? This is clearly, this is clearly understood amongst the nobles and the royals and the nobles, and that custom is continued to this day. All right? Among the ruling elites. You see what I'm saying? When you look at the way these Rothschilds, these Rockefellers, these Warburgs, these Oppenheimers and DuPonts, all right, when you look at how they move the same way that the nobles moved, all right, back in ancient times. You see what I'm saying? They don't marry outside of their own. Okay? And that's what keeps the influence of their families intact and strong. All right? So let's go to the precept that she pulled out in Deuteronomy. All right? Let's see. Okay, Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. And let's read verse 2 where she started at. All right. And when the Lord thy power shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. All right. Nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. All right. So we got into the understanding of the word marriage is to join. All right. And under our customs, it would be meaning to join houses. Okay. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters shall not be given to his son, nor his daughters shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord Yahweh be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. All right. Now, putting it into perspective. Now, what happens if a son of a distinguished house in, let's say the tribe of Naphtali, right? In the tribe of Naphtali, let's say that there's a son from this distinguished house in this particular tribe was to marry a heathen woman. Okay? Let's say an Elamite, all right? Or an Edomite, you know what I'm saying? Well, that heathen's family will have a legal claim to the wealth and influence of this distinguished house of the tribe of Naphtali. You see what I'm saying? All right? And that would do what? That would bring confusion. As a matter of fact, the laws of marriage was in such a strict nature that you couldn't even marry another Israelite woman from a different tribe. You see what I'm saying? It was that strict. All right. It was to make sure that the inheritance was to remain intact. All right. Amongst each tribe. Okay. So so someone from the tribe of Gad can't marry the daughter of someone from the tribe of Judah. You see what I'm saying? Because the inheritance it wouldn't work. You see what I'm saying? All right, because it would be too much confusion. All right. Now that's in the aspect of wealth and influence. You see what I'm saying? That's in the aspect of wealth and influence. But what about the aspect of religious influence? Right? That's a whole different beast. Now we're getting into the meats and potatoes of this thing, right? So according to the customs of our fathers, you see what I'm saying? A legal wife has the freedom to further the gods of her fathers in worship. Okay? If an Israelite man marries a fellow Israelite woman, the only God that she's going to be worshiping, all right, is the God of her fathers, which is also the God of his fathers. You see? But if a heathen from Moab, for instance, all right, if it's a heathen from Moab, she can worship her God. All right? And as we've seen with King Solomon, you know what I'm saying, she can likely persuade that man to worship her gods alongside her. You see? All right. Likewise, you know what I'm saying, she could also teach the children to leave from their native language, as was the case in the time of Nehemiah, right? Let's go to Nehemiah. Let's see. Nehemiah chapter 13. Nehemiah chapter 13. Let's start at verse 23. It reads, "In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod and of Ammon and of Moab. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod," all right, which would be Hebrew, all right, "and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people." You see what I'm saying? So, so these children being raised up under the influence of their mothers and of their mothers' people would what? They would have a hard time speaking their own language, which was Hebrew. You see what I'm saying? Verse 25. It says, "And I contended with them and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by the Most High, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto thy sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his power, and the Most High made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin." You see what I'm saying? Even him, King Solomon. Why? Because under his rulership, all right, he was joining house to house to house to house, all right, as a part of agreements, you know what I'm saying, between the different countries, the different kingdoms. You see what I'm saying? He would make a deal with this one. Okay, this one would give him his daughter, and he would take the daughter to wife, all right, under legal pretense. You see what I'm saying? So under that situation, she would be what? She would be free, all right, free to worship the God of her fathers. You see what I'm saying? And as he got old, King Solomon had followed the ways of all these heathen, all right, who he made his wives. You see? So that was the problem. That was the problem where he sinned at. Okay? So what does the law say? Because we just touched on that point, right? So what does the law say that we can do with the heathen women? You see, because she said, she asked, where in the law does it say that we can deal with heathen women? Well, let's find out, because it clearly says that we can deal with heathen women. You know what I'm saying? In the same law, in the same book, mind you, that she read from with her proud look. You know what I'm saying? We're able to take these same women as concubines into our house. All right? That's the difference. That's the difference. You see what I'm saying? So let's read this in the same book that she came out of, Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy, because this is the thing, man. Y'all, you can't pick and choose, man. You have to fully understand what the law is talking about. All right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 10. It reads, when thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy power hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a very beautiful woman, all right, a beautiful woman, and has the desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, all right, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thy house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. All right, because either she's been, either her parents are dead, or she's simply been separated from her parents. You know what I'm saying? And she put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and still and shall remain in thy house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. Okay, so a full month, this woman is supposed to get accustomed to your living quarters. For a full month, this woman is to get comfortable, man. Get used to seeing your servants. Get used to seeing how you eat, how you live. You know what I'm saying? And after that, thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband. All right? And be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. Now, what is this talking about? It's talking about a custom of concubine. All right, concubineship. You see what I'm saying? So I asked ChatGPT, right? I asked, according to the biblical customs of the Israelites, could you explain the difference between a wife and a concubine? And ChatGPT told me in the beginning, in biblical Israelite society, the distinction between wife and a concubine was both legal and social. While both were recognized as partners to a man, their status, their rights, and roles were notably different. All right, here's a breakdown of the key differences. For a wife had full legal status in the household. Marriages were typically formalized by a contract or a covenant, okay, according to our traditions, and often involved a bridal price, okay, which is, I believe it's known as a dowry, okay, which was paid to her family. Okay, she had inheritance rights. You see this? She had inheritance rights, especially for her children. And her children were considered legitimate heirs. All right, legitimate heirs. Remember, the inheritance goes down to the sons. Also, wives were often chosen from within the same tribal or covenant community. You see? That's what a wife was. Okay, and that had to happen within what? Within the tribes or the community. Okay? Now for a concubine. A concubine was a recognized secondary partner, but did not have the full legal status of a wife. You see? That's why we just read in Deuteronomy, the 21st chapter, that she was to do what? That she was to shave her hair, all right, shave off her hair, pare her nails, okay, and shall put off the raiment of her captivity from off her, okay, and remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother for a full month, and after that thou shalt go into her, okay, and be her husband. You see what I'm saying? She didn't have the same rights, the same recognized rights as a wife. You understand? This is the difference that we're talking about here. All right. She didn't have the same legal status. The relationship, ChatGPT says, the relationship might not involve a formal marriage contract or a bridal price. Concubines were often taken due to social or political reasons. For example, to bear more children, or to solidify allegiances. You know what I'm saying, or alliances. You see. So that's where King Solomon had failed at. You see what I'm saying? Instead of taking those daughters of those other rulers as concubines, he took their daughters to be his wives legally, of higher stature. All right, of high status as a wife. Okay, and these weren't some low-level women that we talking about here, man. King Solomon was getting the best of the best. He was getting princesses. You see what I'm saying? Princesses of high nobility, high kings. All right, and he made them his legal wives. That was the problem. It's not the problem of having a wife as a concubine, because King David did the same thing. You see what I'm saying? But he did it right. He made these other heathen as his concubines. He didn't make them his legal wife. You see what I'm saying? Continuing on, ChatGPT says their children could be acknowledged, but their inheritance rights were often less secure and sometimes contested. You see what I'm saying? And then it gives the examples of the sons of Hagar, all right, which was dealing with Abraham, right? The sons of Hagar, Bilhah, and Zilpah. Okay. So let's go into the purpose and the role. A wife's purpose and a wife's role was primarily including the bearing of children, managing the household, and forming a social and political alliance. All right. In a monogamous or a polygamous setting, wives often had seniority and more influence. You starting to see the difference? Okay. Now, for a concubine, the role and the purpose of a concubine was usually taken to increase the number of offspring, especially if the wife was barren. Okay, especially if the wife was barren. You see what I'm saying? And that happened throughout the scriptures, man. All right. Case in point, Hagar. You know what I'm saying? Sarah, all right. Sarah was barren at the time. You see? So continuing, it says, let's see, if the wife was barren, sometimes the concubine served dual roles as both servant and sexual partner, and had fewer rights and a more vulnerable position within the household hierarchy. Understand? So that's the point. That's the point. It gave you just a quick synopsis of this. Okay. Let me see. I asked ChatGPT, why did King Solomon marry so many women who weren't Israelites? And it says, ChatGPT says, King Solomon's marriages to many foreign women, including those who were not Israelites, were driven by a combination of political strategy, right? Personal desire, and ultimately spiritual compromise. All right, he made compromises. That was the problem. All right, as described in the biblical narrative. So political alliances in the ancient Near East, royal marriages were often tools of diplomacy. That's what King Solomon was doing. He was going around, all right, as not just the high king of Israel, but he was also performing acts of diplomacy. All right. It says, by marrying the daughters of foreign kings, Solomon was able to secure peace treaties and alliances, and also strengthen political and trade relationships with neighboring nations such as Egypt, Moab, Ammon, Phoenicia, which was the sons of Ham, and also Edom. All right. These marriages were not primarily romantic, but strategic moves to maintain power and influence in the region. You see what I'm saying? And that was where he fell off. All right. So that's pretty much what I want to get on with that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at the progenitors of the 12 tribes, okay, some of them were born from heathen women, right? Take Ruth, for example. Ruth was a Moabite, you know what I'm saying? But she gave birth to Obed, okay? Obed that furthered the line of on down to King David. You know what I'm saying? I think it was Obed, then it was Jesse, then it was King David, you know? And King David went down to King Solomon, okay? All the way on down to Yahushua. You see what I'm saying? And Boaz took her. He took Ruth, who was a widow, right? Who was a widow, and she was also the servant of Naomi. You know what I'm saying? And she was made to be his wife due to her status. You see what I'm saying? Let's go here. All right. Why? Because she had no ties to her own kinsman, right? Which is why he was able to take her on as his wife. Let's go find Ruth. Slocky. Let's see, Ruth chapter 4. If I can get it. All right, Ruth chapter 4, let's start at verse 9. All right. It reads, and Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, ye are witnesses this day that I have brought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilion's, and Mahlon's of the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, and raised up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. This was a contract that was based off an inheritance. All right, a business. You see what I'm saying? That the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place ye are witnesses this day. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord Yahweh make this woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do thou worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about contracts, man. All right. like Donald Trump, he says we got to make deals, right? We have to make deals. Would you like what I'm saying? Like would you, let's say for example Moses, right? When you look at Moses, you know what I'm saying, his sons were not born of Israelite women, you know what I'm saying? But they're still Israelites. You see what I'm saying? Their mothers were heathens. All right? Their mothers were heathens. And many will point to this the scripture over here in the book of Sirach. All right? The book of Sirach. And they'll try and use this as a point to prove their case. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's see. Sirach chapter 25. No, Sirach chapter 26, verse 19. It says, my son, keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers, and give not thy strength to strangers. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thine own seed, trusting in the goodness of thy stock. So thy race, which thou leavest, shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent. See what I'm saying? So given the point being, give not thy strength to strangers. Okay? So after everything that you've learned in this lesson, this is the question. What is the strength of our sons that could be given to these strangers? All right, and in this instance, it's talking about the heathen. You see what I'm saying? So what is the strength that our sons could be given to these heathen? The answer is our inheritance. All right, our inheritance, our customs. Okay, which was the case with King Solomon. Okay, our customs, where we ended up worshiping their gods and following their customs. You see, the very thing that the Lord had warned us about in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. Okay, it wasn't just our inheritance, it wasn't just our customs, but it was our security. You see what I'm saying? Our security, which is in what? Which is in the worship of our power Yahweh. So when we go and we start worshiping their power, we lose the security that we have. Okay? So when we stop worshiping Yahweh, things start going downhill, man. And guess what? All of that, our inheritance, our customs, our security, all of that is in jeopardy if we join our houses with theirs through legal marriage. That's what it's talking about. It's not the same if that woman is subjected to our ways as a servant, which is what a concubine is, essentially, as we just read. All right. And what ChatGPT has told us. You see what I'm saying? Marriage, according to the customs of our forefathers, was a business transaction. You see what I'm saying? So, pretty much in closing, what I'm saying, the bottom line is this, man. You women need to be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Be quiet, man. You don't know the law. And if you don't have a husband to ask to get clarity on something, simply listen to the prophets and the teachers. You see what I'm saying? And keep your mouth closed. If you have a question, then ask it. If not, just hold your peace. And if we detect that you're being prideful in your questioning, you're going to be dismissed. It's just that simple. The time of you women controlling what men do is coming to a close, man. Okay? All you simps, all you simps out there kneeling, kneeling to the feet of these women, man. All I got to say is your days are numbered. The Lord is looking for men, not effeminate males. He's looking for men. Understand? So I'm going to cut that there, man. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. Salakia for it going on pretty long, but I had to get these points across. So this has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wahaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.